Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another NXTGEN League. Of course, on Thursday night, it's the Greddy Cooper Z League, and you're joining us on the sunny afternoon at Interlagos in Brazil for round 7 of this championship. Following around Ruddo as we go through turn number 6 there. I'm Jack TF53, your commentator, as always, on Thursday nights on GT Sport. Of course, the eve, naturally, of the final, which is going to be the final day, realistically, of Gran Turismo Sport being the latest entry in the Gran Turismo series. Of course, Gran Turismo 7 comes out tomorrow, in this case, which, if you're wondering what the date is today, it's the 3rd of March. And as I say that, Jordan ticks the timings over, and we'll be starting qualifying any moment. But to celebrate this final evening, so to speak, of GT Sport, we've got some racing for you tonight in the Greddy Fugu Z cars and then the minis shortly after. Jordan has announced that the timings are up, and we've got a little bit of a glitch here. There we go. Oh, that's a bit of a GT Sport. It wouldn't be. GT Sport would have had a problem on the last day, would it now? Bit of timing errors going on there. Sure, we'll be able to get the camera angles. There's Ruddo. Matthew Rudd still in the pit lane, although he was facing the wrong way, so somebody is out in front. Can't quite make out who that is. It's Swargy, TCR Swargy 98, who's been driving well this season. He is first out on track in Interlagos, looking for another win. Is Swargy. Didn't quite go his way last week. Of course, Lego Maggiore, we were racing around in Italy last week, very short circuit, which promoted a lot of opportunities in the minis. And tonight we're expecting the Interlagos race to promote some very close battles across the grid, especially in the Fugus from the test races we've done earlier on in the pre-season warm-up. 3 rounds to go after this set of races here tonight at Brazil, though, so only 3 more weeks of GT Sports before the next gen community, I would assume, would say goodbye to Gran Turismo Sport, with 7 having only just, well, will have been released by that stage. But let's have a look at the top 5 in the let's starting off with the Greddy Fugu Championship. Ruddo 24, he leads the way on 131. It's a commanding lead to have, with 4 rounds including this one to go. Swargy 98 is second on 103, he's 28 points further back. Third place is Bruce Lee Harden on 87, with Matty Rudd in 4th on 79 points, and JPH 99 is 5th on 71 points in the Fugus. In the Coopers, a little bit different. Ruddo 24 is leading the way on 116 points, with Bruce Lee Harden second on 95. Swargy 98 is third on 83 points, with Matty Rudd in 4th on 77, and D Hartley 79 is 5th on 74 points, as we see Swargy chuck himself through the centre S and round turn number 3 there. A difficult long left-hander in these Fugus, which we'll see throughout the circuit. There's Ruddo running around there as well, D Hartley following along. And in terms of the overall championship standings, it is Ruddo, of course, leading the way. He's on 247 points now in the overall tally. It's a huge gap right the way back to Swargy 98, who's second. You have to go back 61 points for Swargy, so it's going to have to be some effort from Swargy. Although I say that, he's gone off at, by looks of it, turn 6, as Danto's left the room, unfortunately. Hopefully he'll be able to rejoin. A third place is Bruce Lee Harden, 6 points back from Swargy on 182. Matty Rudd is 4th on 156, with JPH 5th on 139. D Hartley 79 is 135 in 6th place. Snav on 117. Danzo on 75 in 8th, with Tim and Subertus rounding off the top 10 in 9th and 10th, with 60 and 55 points respectively. So drivers will have the work cut out today around Interlagos. Certainly not an easy circuit for the drivers to navigate around. It's a challenge for Formula 1 drivers, of course. It's been a staple of the championship since the 70s. Looked a lot different in Interlagos back then, but Ruddo's going to be the first driver to set time. That's a 1:35.7 from Ruddo. Swargy a few seconds back, of course. D Hartley 2.3 back on his run. What about Matty Rudd in that purple liveried car? Coming towards the light, it's going to be slower than Ruddo. Will he slot in between Ruddo and Hartley? He does. He sets himself up for second place. There's JPH in 4th. Subertus running a very poignant livery for tonight, the Dutch driver. Obviously, of course, whilst we race around Interlagos, we cannot avoid the acts of war and aggression going on in Ukraine, and Subertus obviously showing his support with that livery there. Snav also adorning some Ukrainian flags on his Betty Swallock's car, which is nice to see the support. Obviously our well wishes go out in Next Gen to those that are in the conflict. Hopefully we can have some good action for tonight. Now let's see in terms of what Ruddo can do for his second lap. He's got a commanding advantage already, Ruddo. 1.6 seconds is a huge amount of time around Interlagos. It's very well hit. Very big history, of course, of Interlagos. Many famous greats have run around here. If you to give it its full name, Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, of course, and he was a winner of the Brazilian Grand Prix back in 1975. His first and only ever win. He was a huge hero in Brazil as a result of that. Let's see Ruddo come towards the line. It is an improvement by 0.12 of a second, and Swargy gets himself within a second of that on the approach to turn 1. D. Hartley, Matty Rudd. Championships have been settled here in the past. Won't be tonight, as much as Ruddo would love that. But you have to think back to all those famous moments in history. Jenson Button in 2009 being one of those biggest moments in recent history. Sebastian Vettel spinning around in 2012, of course, when he got hit by Bruno Senna in the Williams, coming into what is this corner here, coming into turn 4. He's facing the wrong way at the end of lap 1. D. Hartley flying off onto the AstroTurf. There's Snav on the brakes. There's JPH. Subertus running around. One thing to make a note of with Subertus, he's racing in the Fugus tonight. He can't race in the Minis, which is unfortunate. So a couple of drivers will need to be aware of that. Tim's still in the pits. He's set 1 lap time, potentially. Well, let's have a look at what Ruddo's up to. A little bit of a delay in the stream there for Ruddo. Hopefully he's not got too many lag issues. Pushing that Fugu Z absolutely to the limit. Let's ride on board with him though. So up this banking now, the left-hander here, the penultimate corner technically speaking, in the Minerale, up to 135 mile an hour into 5th gear, then down the long straight to get a little bit of a boost downhill, 150 mile an hour in these Fugus, and then on the brakes just after the 100 metre marker, down into 3rd gear for the Senna S. Through turn 1, clips the curb really nicely, then through turn 2, lovely line through there, and then turn 3 completely flat in these Fugus. He's using all of the curb. You see the tyres were just giving a bit away there as he went over the exit curb. Up then into 5th gear, past 140 mile an hour, approaching 150 on the brakes, down into turn 4, 3rd gear for Ruddo. Again, nice and neat so far from Ruddo, no messing about. Through turn 5. And then into the double banked turn 6 and 7. Very difficult corners to get right. Around here it's blind at the top here as he keeps a very tight line. Ruddo's lap so far nice and neat. And then on the brakes, a difficult right-hander. Some drivers will take that in 2nd gear. Ruddo elects 3rd is the best for him. And he does the same through the left-hander as well. Good lap so far from Ruddo. Then down again on the brakes. Ruddo electing to use 2nd gear as opposed to what other drivers could potentially do around here. And then through this long sweeping corner before on the brakes at Junkao, penultimate corner technically speaking on track. And then it's a run towards the line. See how he does. It's been a very tidy lap from Ruddo. Gotta say, really pinpoint and smooth. So he approaches the curve of De Sol and he goes quicker. Another personal best from him. Really nice rhythm that Ruddo's got there. Swargy a little bit slower. He's in the 36s. Matty Rudd at the moment he's got a 36.6. He's 1 second slower than Ruddo. That's not going to be an improvement. It would have been had it not been for Matty Rudd picking up a penalty there. D. Hartley's back out on track. There's JPH. There's Snav and Bertus. Bertus with a 38.9 in the Fugu. Oh, Snav getting a little bit of a wiggle on. as it goes through Pinarino there. Then up towards the right-hander, of course, coming out of Bico de Pato. Nice tail slide from Snav as he came out of that corner. Not as many drivers in tonight, unfortunately. I'm not sure where Danzo has disappeared off to. We'll have to have a check of the steward's room. He's unfortunately had to miss out, as Danzo. Family life has called him away. So we're down to 8 drivers. Such a shame, really, but the drivers that are here for the remaining 3 rounds, they will, of course, be absolutely committed to finishing off the season. Snav can't improve, though. There's not much longer now in this session left, so the timer will be ticking over. JPH on his final lap. Got a couple of cars in front of him. He's got Ruddo and Matty Rudd in front of him. Matty Rudd getting a slipstream here. Obviously the Rudds working together, just trying to bring Matty Rudd up into the second place position. Ruddo pulls over. JPH on his final lap. He doesn't improve. He's out by a very small amount. D Hartley won't improve. What about Sir Bertus? Will this be a chance for him? It isn't. He doesn't improve. So he sees the checkered flag there right at the end. Tim's not come out of the pit, and Ruddo's going the wrong way on circuit. Not ideal. But Swargy's on his lap. Important for Swargy here to get a good lap time. Let's see how he does. He comes through Bico de Pato. Swings it round through turn. Oh, the third to last corner. He's down on his lap time, so he's not going to improve here. Snav is the only other driver who looks to still be on a competitive lap as he comes towards the line. Isn't an improvement though. He stays in 6th position. Burst is doing donuts. Swargy doesn't look like he's going to improve. He got within 6.5 tenths of Ruddo, but that's a huge margin for Ruddo to have. No one else, I believe, apart from Matty Rudd on a lap here. Good evening to Gibbo. Obviously a previous Thursday night stalwart veteran himself. Well, Matty Rudd's going to come towards the line now. Timer ticks over. Is he going to improve? He doesn't. He stays in 3rd place, so it's Ruddo with another podium. Well, I should say pole position there. The number 24 has absolutely dominated qualifying around Interlagos. Swargy's going to be in 2nd. Matty Rudd in 3rd place with D Hartley 4th. JPH in 5th. He's getting ready to start things off. Snav going the wrong way in 6th. There's Subertus doing some donuts in 7th position, and Tim out on track. There we go. And Gibb saying he handed over the baton to young Swargy. Well, let's see how he gets on in the first race of the evening in the Greddy Fugu Zeds. It's part of the Cooper League. So it's Ruddo 24 on the left hand side in that black and white car, Swargy on the right hand side in that white, red and black car. There's going to be 20 minutes on the right hand side, and the launch is going to be really important with the incline. Let's see how the drivers get on as the lights start to come forward. And the race is live from Interlagos. Looks like a really good launch from the drivers in 2nd and 3rd. In fact, Ruddo having to cover immediately. Swargy had a really good launch. He's going to try and go round the outside. Is Swargy? Can he make that move stick? He's going to go onto the grass. He just about holds it on track in time. JPH sideways as he gets up to 4th. It's going to cost him a load of momentum. Hartley and Snav either side of him as they come through turn 3. That's not a place you want to be. And Bertus even sneaking his way up into 5th position. So good start for him. But Ruddo was able to fend off the advances of Swargy, so he is going to be in the lead. That's D Hartley running very deep at turn 4, and he drops down to 6th place. JPH has gone backwards. He's losing momentum to Tim, but Tim, oh, that's a peculiar line from Tim. Just about stays pointing in the right direction. Berthas had a great start. Let's get all the camera angles. Hopefully that glitch will be fixed in Gran Turismo 7. At the moment, the front three already trying to make a small gap to the group behind. Berthas on the inside line there, just trying to defend from Snav. Oh, so Berthas a little bit too wide coming out of Bico de Pato. You see the drivers struggling for traction almost as they come through the third to last corner. And Ruddo's gone backwards, so Swargy's taking the lead. Now, was that an informed decision from Ruddo? Did he decide to do that with the slipstream, take advantage of it while he's got a chance? Swargy's keeping the inside line. Oh, well for him currently. Swargy just moving to the outside line now on the approach to turn 1. Ruddo's up the inside here, and that's cleanly done from the championship leader. Well done to Ruddo, he gets himself back into the lead. Swargy there in second, Batty just following all of this, and now there's a gap between the front trio. And you can see, look at this, with Ruddo trying to defend heavily. Swargy's looking at the outside line, Matty Rudd's on the inside, and he's actually managed to dummy Swargy, gets himself through into second place. Swargy won't be too pleased with that. He'll be a bit annoyed that he let that opportunity open, but a little bit of contact on the way through. Matty Rudd sideways, almost losing the back end. Would have been absolutely nightmarish for him if he'd have lost it through Ferradura. And he survives to fight another day. Look at Snav and Berthas all side by side through Pinarino. They just about keep it together. Snav's trying to go back through again, but he can't quite make it there. There's D. Hartley and JPH. There's 4 cars fighting over the same bit of tarmac. So there's 2 groups already. And look at D. Hartley's got himself up the inside. He's going to try and go up the inside of Berthas as well, but a little bit of contact pushes Berthas right the way off. Now, Berthas might think that D. Hartley pushed him off there. That wasn't the case. There was contact between Snav into the back of D. Hartley, which pushed him wide. But look at these 3 already again down towards turn 1. Matty Rudd on the outside line. Matty Rudd just stays in behind for the time being, looking for a better run through Senna S. D. Hartley still in 4th. We haven't seen any change for position further back. How tight this is at the moment. Swargy gets the momentum that he's needed from Ruddo, but Ruddo swings across. And Ruddo moving to the inside again. He's trying to play a little bit of a game between the 2 behind him. And Ruddo stays in the lead. Matty Rudd's got a very good exit out of Desida de Largo though. He's going to be on the outside for Ferradura. On the brakes down into 3rd gear. Matty Rudd a little bit more stable through the corner this time. And none on the grass. Snav's back up to 4th. Ooh, Snav just clipping the grass there. Everybody else just sort of ghosting between each other. Berthas is just hanging on. JPH and D. Hartley phasing in and out of one another. Not a sentence I'd ever thought I'd say, but there we are. On the brakes then. Everybody giving it their absolute utmost. This might be the lowest grid numbers we've had this season, but I have to say the fighting is no less competitive than usual. D. Hartley goes deep into Junk Cow. And JPH got a terrible exit there as well, so this has brought Sir Berthas right back into play. Sir Berthas just needs to pick his line. He'll get past the 2 of them before we get to turn 1. Here we go then, he's past D. Hartley already. There's 1 car. I'm keeping an eye out of the gap at the front as well. Which way will Sir Berthas go? D. Hartley's picked his line. Berthas goes right up the inside and Hartley tries to go around the outside. That's not going to work. Berthas trying to take his line through the corner. Just about holds on, but JPH had the momentum and D. Hartley's going to get underneath him and take that 6th place. Battle is absolutely fantastic to watch. Speaking of fantastic battles at the front, Ruddo's just about holding on from Swargy, so there may have been a 6/10 gap in qualifying, but I have to say these 2 have been absolutely brilliant. And look at this, Swargy going to go round the outside at Ferradura. Fantastic. But Ruddo's still there on the inside. Little bit of tail sliding from Ruddo. They won't have enough to get through 2x2, and they sure enough don't. And Ruddo retakes the lead. Great racing so far. This has been excellent fighting in the opening 5 minutes. Really good to watch. They're giving it their absolute all at the moment. Matty Rudd as well. Gotta say, Snav isn't too far away from this lot. He's broke away from the fighting free, and JPH loses out and drops to 7th. Snav sneaks back up to 6th, but his exit... The drivers are struggling coming out of Junkau. It's evident that that corner is not set up or lending itself well to the Fugus. In fact, JPH just giving Bertus just a little nudge there to just push themselves along to the back of D. Hartley again. JPH knows he can't lose the slipstream. He needs to get in front. I'd rather get up to the back of D. Hartley. Otherwise he'll drive off as well. Oh, Bertus very, very late on the brakes. But not as bad a line than it was for D. Hartley. JPH the better of the trio. We're just following JPH, a nice tight line. Now what will D. Hartley do? Will he stay there, give Bertus the slipstream? And he will do. JPH on the brakes down into 3rd gear. Oh, D. Hartley very deep at Interlagos. That's going to give JPH 1 position. Is he going to try and go right outside JPH? He tried. I don't think he's going to be close enough on the approach to Ferradura. Matty Rudd is back in front of Swargy in the battle for 2nd place as Hartley runs wide. Can't get back into line, and JPH on the brakes, sure enough, will take 5th position. But this is a thing to notice. JPH taking the lower gears through the slower corners, and Snav as well. Snav is catching this front 3. They're fighting very hard for position, but as I say that, Ruddo's just broken away here. 9 tenths over a second coming out of Junkau. And well, has this just broken the back for Ruddo? Has he been able to just withstand the pressure in the opening couple of laps? Is he going to fire away? Let's have a look at this lap time that Ruddo does as he comes across the line. It's going to be a 36.8. Half a second quicker than Matty Rudd, but Matty Rudd can't focus on lap times. Swargy on the brakes, down into turn 1, and that's signed, sealed and delivered, and Swargy's back into 2nd position. But this is just bringing Snav back into play. 37 flat from Snav. Snav is having the drive of the season he's having so far. Been really impressive, but I think he's ran deep at turn 1, you know. Because that gap was 1.7. I think he's gone too hot. Turn 1, I could be wrong. But Snav having a great time out there at the moment. Quicker than the 2 in front of him. JPH in 5th position. D. Hartley in 6th. The gaps are just stretching out a little bit now, with half the race remaining. Look at Tim. 42.4 for Tim. 5.5 seconds off the pace, but he's having fun. And he'll be happy with himself. I think the thing for Tim is getting through this season. Seeing him on GT7 will be good. See how he gets on. But Ruddo's just snaking away now. It's going even quicker on this lap. Swargy's bounced back on this lap as well. So as I was saying earlier, with Snav catching the front 2, that's no longer the case. Snav's got the gap. The gap's now out to 3 seconds, 3.5 seconds to Snav. That's not ideal at all. Ruddo's best lap, he doesn't beat it, but these two do. Swargy with a 36.8 on the brakes is Matty Rudd. Oh, Matty Rudd sails way too far deep at turn 1. He's lost a lot of time actually as Matty Rudd. That's almost the best part of a second. In fact, it is. That is problematic for Matty Rudd. He went too hot on the brakes down into turn 1. Look at that gap. And in fact, Ruddo's made a mistake here. Look at this. I thought for a moment Swargy was going to run into the back and fly off the circuit with Ruddo there, but he just about got it stopped at a little nudge. But Ruddo's backed himself into a corner here. I'm not sure what mistake he's made. Probably at turn 1. We've seen a few drivers get it wrong at turn 1. These Fugus very unforgiving. Swargy has a chance here again, and he doesn't have to worry too much for the first lap here in terms of trying to get past Ruddo. doesn't have to worry about that. Because Matty Rudd's actually dropped back. It's 1.6 now. So Swargy will be able to have a direct shot at Rudder without worrying about the consequences going on behind him. So let's see. Down towards turn 1 we go then for the 8th time of asking. Ruddo having the gap closed down, but it's not quite enough. It's a new fastest lap from Swargy, almost into the 35s. Oh, Swargy a little bit too deep at turn 1. That's going to cost him a lot of time. That line really is stretching the gap out. Look at the gap going out. Back up to over 8/10. So Swargy needs to do a little bit of recalibrating here. Needs to recompose himself and get back on with it. There's Matty Rudd in 3rd place still. Snav in 4th. Still having a great drive from Snav. Got to say, it's really competitive. JPH in 5th. Oh, that's D Hartley going so deep into Descida de Lago. Actually lost a little bit of time. In fact, he's lost a lot of time in giving a penalty as well to add insult to injury to D Hartley, who won't be pleased with that. I think he lost enough time to Bertus, who's now less than a second and a half behind. And there's Tim going through turn 3. Tim doing what he does best, finishing the race and being a great chap all round. Back up near the front, Ruddo still leading the way, but he's not under as much pressure as he was last lap. 7 minutes roughly to go. Enough time for a couple of laps. It'll be fascinating to see how the minis get her on around here in the next race. Swargy just not close enough, and Ruddo fighting back with a new fastest lap of the race there, 36.042. Half a tenth quicker than Swargy's previous fastest lap. Don't think Matty Rudd has the pure pace in the Fugus to keep up. We look at his best lap now. There he's by himself, a 36.9. You know, Ruddo and Swargy are in a little league of their own at the moment. Snav, he's dropped back a little bit since his earlier barnstorm in 37 flat. But it's still a very good drive. He's got to be careful though, because JPH has catched him. Caught him by a second on the last lap. Can't imagine that gap is too much either. Let's have a look on the brakes. Snav clips the apex. JPH looking a little bit quicker on this lap. Watching Bertus and D Hartley giving it their absolute utmost to try and get through the pack, but we'll catch up to one another, I should say. But this is going to be difficult now. Tim's still running an 8th, which is good to see. Another new fastest lap from Ruddo, 24 into the 35s. He is now on his way. Couple of mistakes earlier on, but he's managed to sort himself out, and all the fighting from the first couple of minutes have subsided. He's just got to make sure he brings it home now. Alien mode engaged, says P. Gibb. Yeah, off he goes. Into a land of accuracy only he knows. But in any case, it's still Ruddo in the lead currently. And it's Swargy. There's Matty Rudd. New personal best for Matty Rudd. It's much more like it. Snav in 4th. No real difference on the last lap. A 10th and a half between Snav and JPH. So maybe JPH he'll want to go for more positions, but I think he'll have to think for realistically. He's going to be starting on third as it stands in the reverse grid race in the minis, so might just work out for him. There's D Hartley, another driver who's really good in the minis. D Hartley, maybe he can break away early on. Ruddo again, another new fastest lap. 1:35.5. That is off the scale. That's just how good he is. You can see why he's a Focus Cup driver. Absolutely outstanding in this championship. One of the key questions going into Gran Turismo 7 is how will the drivers adapt to their cars. I've heard quite a lot of different aspects about the handling model having been updated a little bit. Sounds very intuitive, which is always a positive sign, but that's going to be key for the drivers to balance, get themselves used to. Ruddo doesn't need to worry about that for now. He is in a world of his own. Swargy is as well. Doing a great job, Swargy, but that's going to be so tough to... Ruddo's going to be so tough to beat from now until the end of the season. He's just got a rhythm that nobody seems to have access to. Matty Rudd is trying. Drivers will have enough time. Should be for 2 more laps. So penultimate lap for the drivers. There's Snav. JPH. D Hartley. Bursis now coming to well. Bursis has made a mistake recently. Or a couple of mistakes, just small errors. Yeah, especially on that last lap. He must have gone round. Shame for Bursis. Well, I think he gets livery of the evening, to be honest. Ruddo just setting a consistent stream of 35s now just to rub it in. He's only got 1 more lap after this. As does Swargy. As does Matty Rudd. And Snav. JPH. And yeah, there should be enough time for D Hartley. Maybe not for Burtis, which will be interesting to find out. And Tim will be going on to his last lap now. A new personal best from Tim, a 41.8. Good for Tim. Good for the community to see him running around. Not just about, of course, winning every race possible. It's about having a good time, developing your skills. That's what racing's all about. 1 lap to go. Ruddo enters that final lap. And number 1, stroke 24. Driver is doing a great time. Doing a great job and a great time of it as that. Swargy gave it his best. But at the moment he's looking to fall apart in second. I don't think he'll be too disappointed in that, but he would have wanted to win. Matty Rudd. He's doing a grand job in 3rd place. Snav in 4th. JPH in 5th. D Hartley's 6th. And Bertus got onto his final lap, so well done Bertus. So let's go and stay with our first driver to see the checkered flag, which will be Tim. Not for a race win, but for 8th position. Watch Tim as he comes round the banker on the approach to Jung Kao. Down into 3rd gear, into 2nd. Easy enough for Tim. So Tim will come towards the line. Not sure quite what happened there. But Ruddo's come round the final corner. He's come round Junkow with no issues at all. Another win for the man on form. He's in an incredible world of his own as Tim crosses the line, but it's going to be Ruddo24 who wins again at Interlagos, and he's got one hand on that trophy. Swargy is second. Good result for him. Third place is going to go away of Matty Rudd. A good drive from him. Maybe the speed not quite there, but a podium's great for him. What a result this is for Snav. Well done to him. He holds off JPH in 5th position with D Hartley 6th. And Bertus comes round the final corner as he runs over the grass. And he comes towards the line. He's going to brake as he gets towards the line. He couldn't stop it in time though. He's going to be 7th, but it's Ruddo24 who wins the first race of the evening. A great effort from him. Doesn't matter what track he's at, he just seems to adapt to it straight off the bat. Outstanding result for the number 1 / number 24. It's Ruddo24 with the first win of the evening. Now, for the second race, we'll be popping into the minis, which I'll need to do myself. And let's give you an on-track demonstration. Won't be obviously anywhere near as good as the rest of the drivers who compete and give themselves time to practice. Hello to those of you who've just tuned in. We'll be starting the second race in a few minutes. Bit of a break for the drivers. We're going to pop out though. Going to be in the mini. I'm going to jump into on the hood camera, on the roof. We'll let the car do its work. Well, I say the car, the auto drive. So let's get this going. So we'll let the car come out of the pits, which takes a bit of time to get up to speed, but it will do. So the drivers will be going quicker than me. That's the first thing to make a note of. They'll be doing 118 mile an hour. But the drivers won't have to deal with the issues that I've got. It's going to be very careful going through to Interlagos. It'll be a 4th gear corner in the minis. Obviously got a track limit penalty. Good. Obviously my suspension isn't tuned, so it's not ideal. I'll try and drive along. If I try and tip the car, you can see I can nearly do that through Pinerino. Seems we've lost a couple of drivers. I know that Bertus is unable to race for this one, but Tim seems to have left as well. This is what happens when you don't have a limited slip diff. Race 2 starting at 20:45. And there we go, around a sort of lap-ish at Brazil. I'm going to go quiet for a few minutes. I'm just going to give myself a breather. A couple of comments from P-Gib, full send and top 6 should be easy. From Bruce Lee. Yeah, I think it will be. Don't think there'll be any issues getting into the top 6. I think even I could finish in the top 6 at the minute. Nah, I'm only joking, I probably wouldn't be able to. Tim has made a comment to say that he's having some really difficult lag at the moment, so he's just checking his internet. So hopefully we'll have Tim back. Still imagine Tim would be able to beat me. Don't think that'll be an issue. Let's get the car set up though. I was going to go quiet, but let's see if we can get the car set up properly. There are some settings that have been made available from the drivers. See if we can put them onto the car exactly. Okay, let's have a look then. So, comment, let's just come in there. Can't see it, so I have to just come off that for a minute. Gibbo would be pole in the mini, says Rutto there. So let's have a look at what we've got. I'm just going through everything here to make sure we've got the Right settings, so we've got the super soft tyres, of course. We need the brake balance. We've got the ride height, we need to get that right. So bring it down to 100 so that the Mini doesn't tip over, because that's what I was struggling with before. Let's have a look at the frequency. It's going to be about 2. See if we can actually set a decent lap time with these settings. Anti-roll bar, of course, that goes a little bit different. Stiff dampen. Rebounds as well are a lot higher than what some people would expect them to be. We look at the camber, it's going to be a bit more wider. The toe needs to come in on the rear, not the big toe, just the little one. Oh, actually it does need to be in, my bad. Let's get that one there. Got those settings all correct. Speed needs to be 130, that's what we're missing out on. And that is all done. Stick that in, so we've got the proper title for it. I'm just going to call it Mini. And we'll get a couple of minutes out on circuit. Tim will be back in, which is good news. And now we've got a car that will be a bit more representative now. It won't be rolling over into the corners, hopefully. But can anybody stop Ruddo's run at the minute? It's been absolutely outstanding. Oh, here we go. Through the gears. Obviously we'll be having 5 gears in the Mini now. You can see immediately the difference. Come through the track. I keep saying it's on rails. It's a lot easier to drive now. Now I'm obviously not going to be setting quick lap time. That's very difficult to brake in for turn 6 there. That's a really difficult corner, and Pinarino will go around currently. Coming into Bico de Pato, it's really hard to get the car turned in. I'm going to set the rear brake bias quite far back actually. Into junk out. I set a lap time. We got enough time to do a lap time? Ooh, I'm not sure. Probably get told off by Jordan. Let's try it anyway. So, up through the gears. This is the one thing with the fully mechanised limited gearbox that you got. Just makes the Mini sound a little bit tinny, is the best way of saying it, when you're on interior camera. But up towards 118 mile an hour on the brakes, I'm going to go about here. It's very deep into turn 1 at the centre S. Nice advantage, probably not gained really, but the track seems to think I have. Not the end of the world. Got Ruddo behind me. In fact, this is going to be a good example, this. In fact, Ruddo's following me down the straight, not ideal. We won't be able to keep up with Ruddo, that's an absolute. As we've already proven in one corner. Which just shows you how quick the drivers are going. 1 second track penalty for that. Super impressive how Ruddo keeps the speed through there. It's very slow through there into Pinarino. Be curious to see what gears Ruddo's using through the lower corners. Brown Junker for the fire time. Ruddo's waited up for me, very pleasant of him. And go around the outside of him. You can see how long it took me to go around. And race 2 starting now, so I better get out of here. JPH coming out on track. Everybody else out as well. Tim's back in the lobby, which is the most important thing. The race is due to start as Ruddo fires it into the wall. But it's very fun now, driving the mini round. But who will be able to make the best of the opportunity presented to them in the reverse grid? Yes, there's less drivers, but that always means more opportunities, surprisingly, for open track racing. It's quite incredible. As you know, a concerted defensive effort from a driver in second place might just give a chance for the first place to jump off and get away. But it's going to be on the left hand side. Tim, who takes another reverse grid pole. It's D Hartley in second, JPH third, with Snav fourth, Matty Rudd fifth, Swargy sixth, Ruddo in seventh position. Unfortunately, Bertus not able to make the second race, but there's 15 minutes on the right hand side and the lights are about to go out shortly. Tim's jumped the start, but the race is live! Here in Interlagos, Tim jumps the start, and that means D Hartley gets himself away and into the lead. There shouldn't be any problems for him then coming into turn 1. Tim has gone to the back of the grid, not ideal. JPH looking to try and go round the outside. Snav defending the inside line from Matty Rudd. Great start from Matty Rudd. He's already moving himself into third position, and he's almost got his way through. Snav elbows out, keeps that position for the time being. Let's ride on board with the purple car. He's got Swargy next to him. This is where the slipstream comes into effect, but don't forget the Mini will top out before the end of the straights. So this isn't going to be at all easy for the drivers. That's D Hartley who leads the way for not the first time I've said that through this season. Ruddo's 6th and Tim's already a second and a bit back, but D Hartley under threat already from JPH on the inside. Could be a pretty easy move to make, which he does do. D Hartley trying to get underneath him, gets hit by Snav and then back off the circuit. Those two have gone flying off. JPH keeps the lead. Oh, Swargy got it all wrong as well, and he fires himself out the back of the group. Ruddo down to 6th, so I'm not sure what happened there. Snav trying to go up the inside of D Hartley, which cannoned him into the back of JPH. What did I say before, ladies and gentlemen who are watching? One opportunity for someone who's being defensive will give a gap to the person who's in the lead. And look at Jordan, he's over a second clear. He's got a penalty to clear, but he should be able to do that because I don't think he's picked it up unfairly. I think he's picked it up from the incident. So D Hartley 2nd, Snav 3rd, Swargy 4th, Ruddo 5th, Matty Rudd down in 6th place, and Tim is just about caught up. Good man. But it's JPH in the lead. He will have to deal with the slipstream because the drivers, they'll just have a faint enough toe behind him. JPH leads, and I can't remember this season if I've said that for JPH, but he is leading a lap, which is great news. Snav on the inside, Swargy's trying to go round him. No move there. Swargy gets a very good run out of the centre S. He's all over the grass on the inside of the curb, but he can't get through there. Snav making it very clear he can't get through. Ruddo has now appeared on our inside. On the brakes, down into 3rd gear. He's got the inside line. Snav's got a great run. He's trying to go find a way past D Hartley. He's got to be careful though, because Ruddo, who's now got past Swargy, will have the momentum coming into Ferradura. So they've got to keep it nice and tight. JPH still leading the way, but his gap's coming down a little bit. Will Snav fire it up the inside? He was very close. Snav been carrying some very good speed around here tonight so far. JPH leads the way, but that gap's coming down, down, down. Ruddo trying to find a way through. Very difficult to see out of the Mini in the GT Sport cameras. We're going to ride on the roof camera. Look at Snav doing everything he can to keep this inside line. He's trying to stop Ruddo from getting through effectively. But Ruddo's got a very good run. Which way will Snav go? Snav will be better defending the inside. He couldn't get across in time, but Ruddo hit the back of him. And now Snav is trying to find his own way through. And Swargy's all over the back of Matty Rudd. I say that's actually positions are swapped there. Snav actually pushing D Hartley along. But now he's up the inside because there's Ruddo. Ooh, a little bit of clipping. Snav gets the move into second place. D Hartley will want to find his way through. This has been a good set of races at Interlagos so far for Snav. And with a third of the race gone, JPH still has the lead, but Snav is almost going to be a rear gunner, I think, at this point. D Hartley not going to give up on that podium. Here comes Ruddo as well. Oh, Ruddo gets hit in the back by Matty Rudd. Ruddo was shaping up for a move there, didn't pay off for him. He's going to try and go around the outside of D Hartley. D Hartley realises this, he can't cover it in time. Matty Rudd looking to go through as well. He's going to do that. In fact, Matty Rudd's going to lose three places in less than 2 corners. Matty Rudd trying to get through past his own brother now. He'd go underneath. He was going to, but Swargy was there. Had part of the tarmac. So the trio who finished on the podium in the last race, they're now fighting over third position. It's now proven to be a prickly customer in terms of relinquishing that second place. I don't think it's going to be made any easier for everybody. Snav can also smell a win, but that mistake at Juncow's not going to help him. Someone run very wide out of Juncow. I think it was Matty Rudd. Now, here comes the slipstream. Couple of mile-an-hour difference, not much, but Ruddo's going to have the momentum coming towards turn 1. Snav already at the inside line. And Snav just bolts back across again and shuts the door completely. Ruddo can go round the outside, he can cut to the inside whenever he wants. It's a very good line from Ruddo. It's an excellent line from Ruddo, but he's on the outside at turn 3. This is the one thing about the momentum in the minis, is that the drivers can get away with it. Oh, how close is that? Snav trying to shut the door. Can he get close enough? Can he get across the front of him? He just about does. He's up the inside though, is Ruddo. They're side by side. A little bit of contact between the two. And Snav drops down to third place. Matty Rudd is going to squeeze his way through as well. And he's going to get past. Snav was doing everything he could to hold them up. Now JPH. Oh, Snav up the inside. That's a little bit naughty. Bit of contact. That's going to stop Matty Rudd. And Swargy's going to fire himself through as well. A little bit of argy-bargy going on from the drivers. But Snav's back up the inside. He wasn't having any of that. Snav is... This isn't just elbows out from Snav. This is, yeah, Matty Rudd not happy at all. But it's allowed Ruddo to get away. And now the chase is on. Half the race remaining. JPH has a 2.5 second gap. Snav doesn't have a 2.5 second gap. He's got less than 2.5 metres to the car in 5th. Because here comes not just Matty Rudd. There's a lot of door banging going on here, unnecessarily so. Bruce Lee making a comment there. I'm going to leave it at that. But in any case, Matty Rudd, he gets up to 3rd. Swargy, he couldn't make any advantage pay there. How is the fight for the lead going on? Well, at the moment, still, as we said it earlier on in the race, Matty Rudd's just got himself a new fastest first sector of all. Snav in 4th position. Tension has just died down a little bit. D. Hartley's dropped off the back, unfortunately, so it's not working out this one for D. Hartley. Mr. Bean, aka Tim, he's in 7th. Having a fun time. All is swell in Tim's world. There's our race leader. We haven't seen much of him, but he's doing his utmost to try and keep in the lead at the moment. That's going to be really hard though with Ruddo, who's in exemplary form. Oh, Snav almost up the inside at Bico de Pato. Swargy as well following in behind. In fact, Swargy's got himself all up the curb and he's going to go through. And into 4th place goes Swargy. So, will he have enough slipstream from this point forward to bring himself up to the back of Matty Rudd? I think the answer is no. And you can see that the minis, let's see where that counter just start to come down. But we're already halfway down the straight at this point, so there's not much of an advantage. You can see that Swargy's had to go defensive against Snav. Oh, Snav had a wheel on the grass there. I don't know how he managed to keep that in a straight line, but well done to the Betty Swallock's car. Let's have a look at the gap again. Gap's down to 1.2. And Ruddo flashing his lights saying, yes, JPH, I'm on my way. So now there's going to be a huge fight with just one further of the race remaining, and Ruddo getting the fastest first sector of anybody. Matty Rudd just running a little bit wide. He should be able to cover off the move, but having said that, Swargy's momentum off the Interlagos has been excellent. A lot of touching down the straights between Swargy and Matty Rudd there, and a little bit of a nudge for Matty Rudd to go back through. I say I've noticed that in the championship the drivers take a little bit of nudges. There's no need for it really. It's across the board. But Matty Rudd's going to hold on to that position and squeeze his Swargy out, not Squawgy. I'm sure that's an animal somewhere. But in any case, oh look at this, straight up the inside, Swargy taking the advantage and giving his own medicine back to Matty Rudd. I think there's some heated exchanges to be had in the post-race chat. But Swargy in 3rd position. Oh well. 2.2 seconds is the gap between Ruddo and Swargy. And there's Matty Rudd. Snav now has less than 2/10 to gain on Matty Rudd. Let's see, will Snav go to the outside line? He does, but he's not. He's running out of legs. He's going to go on the brakes into turn 1, but I don't think he's going to be close enough. So there's a three-way fight for 3rd position, and there's a 2-car fight for the lead. A 1:49.8 from Ruddo on that last lap, a 50.7 from JPH. This is going to boil down to the final lap. JPH is going to have to prove that he can do it, that he's got the metal to hold off our championship leader. Swargy though, he's not worrying about that, but these two are. Snav's got back past Matty Rudd, and Matty Rudd's flashing his lights. Maybe there was a bit of an incident between the two. A lot of support for JPH from P. Gibb. D. Hartley having a bit of a lonely race in this one. Seems to have lost his momentum. He was excellent in the first half of the season, but maybe the off-season break in the midweek has just sapped his momentum. D. Hartley's not had the most encouraging 2 mini rounds. That's not to say he's not a good driver though. We saw it last week in the Fugus. He was excellent. So he certainly can do it. Maybe tonight another off night in the minis. Matty Rudd trying to get up the inside of Snav at Jung Cow. He can't get through there. JPH and Ruddo still separated by a couple of tenths. Both drivers will be pushing it to their absolute maximum. Look at the lap times just as they come across the line here. New fastest lap. Briefly from JPH, but Ruddo responded. So, 2 laps to go for these two. This is the penultimate lap. I think everybody else, I think Swargy will get another lap. Going to be very close for Snav and Matty Rudd. D. Hartley and Tim, though, these will be their final laps. Concentrating on Matty Rudd and Snav at the moment because their fight has been very heated tonight. Again, a little bit of door banging down the straight. Just a bit unnecessary, really, from both sides. See, Rudd trying to go around the outside. Still a bit more door banging through turn 4. Not really sure where my accent went there when I was just commentating. Or JPH and Ruddo are making some moves. Ruddo trying to go around the outside. Going to be on the inside for Pinarino. He's hit JPH wide. Ruddo just backed off the throttle there. Just as he did that. JPH having to defend into Bico de Pato. I think JPH realised that Ruddo was a little bit further back. Ruddo on the outside. Trying to really get the momentum swing so he can fire it up the inside of Junkow. And he's not going to do that. He's going to hope that he can get the slipstream for this final lap. So, on we go then towards this final lap. There's 19 seconds as we came around Junkow left on the remaining time. But on the time remaining limit, we're just going to cross the line, and that will annoy Jordan. JPH is Jordan, of course. He'll have hoped that's not going to be the case. We're going to have, look at this, couple of seconds remaining as we come towards the checkered flag. It's 4 as we cross the line, but Ruddo's got the lead. JPH is doing everything he can. Will he go later on the brakes into turn 1? He won't, and Ruddo goes through. D. Hartley has seen the checkered flag. Tim will see the checkered flag as well. One opportunity for Jordan. He's going to have to send it up the inside going into Cedar Delago. This is his chance. It's going to be the best opportunity he's got. Ruddo moves to the inside line. Oh, Ruddo going onto the grass a little bit. Swargy's catching the 2 of these as well. Oh, and Ruddo just about holds on for now. But look at this gap. This is 1.2. If they keep battling all the way around the corner, it only takes a good run out of Junkow for Swargy to win this. But we're still a good few corners away from that. This race is going to be decided in less than a minute, and Swargy's gap, look at this, coming down all the time. JPH cutting the inside. I think he's going to get a penalty for that. And that's going to see his hard work all go to waste. But he's got away with it. So, 3 corners pretty much left before we go on to this final straight. Will Ruddo play some tactics here, or will he try and brave it out? Here we go then. On board with JPH, we're going to follow him from the outside camera. On the brakes into Junkow. This is it for the drivers. JPH running as far wide as he could. He's got the momentum. It's going to be a run to the flag now. Ruddo positioning his car as absolute best as he can. He's going to have the slipstream as JPH. He's going to try and cut to the inside. He swings the other way. I think he's just hit the back of Ruddo. Here comes Swargy. It's going to be an absolute run for the line. It's going to be so close as they come towards the line, but Ruddo just gets there. JPH second with Swargy third. Matty Rudd beats the battle of the door handles in 4th place, but what a race that was. Ruddo just held on. I said to watch out for Swargy. It was oh so close. But Ruddo takes the win. What a final lap that was. Heartbreak for Jordan. He was a lap away from a victory, but that was outstanding. Swargy almost nicked it on the line as well. But what a race from the drivers. That was superb to watch. And they should be proud of it. I'm sure they all will be. But that is the second race of the night in the minis. And I've got to say, that was excellent. That's been one of the best races of the season. Really good fighting all across the board. They had no problems at all fighting it out on track. So, in terms of the championship standings, it's looking very peachy for, at the moment, Ruddo is looking very good at the top of the championship standings. We'll be back for round 8 next week, which is going to be at another circuit, of course, which we'll follow up through. Amazingly, there's no next round calendar that I've got, so I can't tell you what the next race is, or rather I can't find it. But in any case, what a wonderful set of races that was. It was really competitive all the way through. But do tune in next week. More action, same place here on JackTM53 Synopsis. Do follow me on Twitch or on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. But what I will say, of course, next gen with a lot more action to come in the next few months, of course, not just within Gran Turismo Sport. We're seeing the end of Gran Turismo Sport's life now, with Gran Turismo 7 coming out tomorrow, of course. Do check out for some new leagues on Gran Turismo 7 on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, of course. It's cross-play across both platforms, which will be excellent. If you want to find out where those are, you just tune into the Next Gen social media channels, of course, which is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Discord, and, of course, nextgenracing.co.uk. Check those out. But that's all from me, JackTM53 Synopsis, and wherever you might be in the big wide world, have a good one. See you soon.